So Lorena claimed that Jesus had told her that his boss did in fact hire him to kill his wife. And he said that he was going to make about 15 grand for the job. But here's the part that is really difficult to sit with. Lorena had known about Laura's murder before it happened. Jesus had mentioned it to her like it was nothing. But it did freak her out enough that she did go straight to the authorities, and she told them what she knew. But for whatever reason, nobody took it seriously at the time. Nobody acted. Not until it was too late and Laura was already dead. Which, it's honestly so frustrating and upsetting to think about, because had they acted, Laura never needed to die. Now, the one thing I will say in the police's defense in all of this is that Lorena didn't know a whole lot. She didn't know the name of Jesus's boss. She didn't know the wife's name. She believed the boss wanted his wife killed, but John didn't have a wife, so she couldn't even connect the dots. At the time, John and Laura weren't even engaged yet when she got that tip, apparently. Laura was just his girlfriend. So Lorena went in with very vague information. You know, someone somewhere out there wanted his wife killed, and that was completely it. And that wasn't even completely accurate when you really break it down. So in light of that, I can understand a little bit about how a report didn't go anywhere. They didn't really have full information. So it's not like Lorena was able to stop this murder. But she did break up with Jesus, which of course isn't shocking. I mean, I can't imagine any decent person staying with somebody who's capable of murder for hire, or any murder, period. So it was a good call for her safety, but it also was bad news for investigators, because by the time the police finally now talked to her, she had been out of touch with Jesus for months. His phone number had changed. She had no idea where he might have gone. So it was a lead, but it was a lead that went nowhere. And unfortunately, most of the public tips went nowhere too, which meant that investigators, they had to keep digging. Luckily, when police got a warrant to search Jesus's Google Drive, they found a photo saved in it. A woman who was wearing a bandana over her face and holding a .45 caliber handgun. Now, her name was Janet Barron, and she was another ex, another woman who used to date Jesus. She now lived in Denver, Colorado. When the police spoke with Janet, she said she didn't know anything about Jesus being a hitman, none of that. However, she did have his phone number, and she also gave the police the names of several close friends of Jesus, people that investigators could reach out to and speak to see if anyone had heard from Jesus or knew where he went. And that did help some, but the real breakthrough came from something else that was found on the drive. For reasons I still can't wrap my head around, Jesus had taken a photo of one of his friend's IDs, and he had saved that as well. That friend was named Ramon Fino, and he lived in Mesquite, Texas, which is about 20 minutes from the suburb that Laura lived in. So investigators went out to speak with him, and before they even could get fully in the doorway and introduce themselves, Ramon basically just said, "I know why you're here. It's because Jesus killed that boss's wife." So the cops were kind of like, "Well, yeah, actually, that is why we're here." And as it turned out, Ramon used to work for John too. And he had told the police that back in January of 2015, Jesus told him everything, the same kind of story that Lorena had described. Specifically, that he had accepted 15 grand in exchange for killing Laura. And honestly, it started to sound like Jesus was kind of telling everyone. Ramon also told the police about a former roommate, and he connected investigators to that roommate as well. Apparently, Jesus had even tried to hire the roommate as a getaway driver, but the roommate wanted no part in it. And I'm just going to pause here for a moment and say, it was a lot, right? I mean, there were tips, searches, tracking people down, going from Lorena to Ramon to the roommate to the other girlfriend. I mean, it took time, but it was good information. But it took some time, and police weren't able to track Jesus's new working phone number and locate him until November 1st, 2016, about 4 months after Laura was found.